This is David Alan Greer. I'm the author of When Computers Were Human and Crowdsourcing for Dummies, and many other books. And I'm here to talk about crowdsourcing and the upcoming Crowdconf conference that's going to be in San Francisco on October 20th and 21st. I'm going to be teaching a course on October 20th on the basics of crowdsourcing. And I thought I would like to give a little bit of an introduction to it for those of you who are thinking of attending. Now, you may think you know what crowdsourcing is. You say it's Kickstarter, perhaps, or Top Coder, or Amazon Mechanical Turk, or perhaps some of you know about the Red Balloon Challenge and all that proposed. Well, crowdsourcing is all of those things, and it's actually much more. Crowdsourcing is a fundamental way of thinking about work, about how we organize ourselves to get tasks done, to create goods, to deliver services. It involves breaking up the processes in new ways, establishing new relationships between workers, and trying to figure out how we can make the best use of skill and get the greatest skill, the skills that we need for our activities. So when you come to Crowdconf, you will be learning about all these things and all the companies and organizations that utilize crowdsourcing in their daily work.
So where do we begin? It's perhaps easiest to begin with a conventional staff and line organization. Presidents, vice presidents, directors, managers, and so forth, all connected in a nice organizational chart. These organizations exist, said the economist Ronald Coase, who's in the upper left-hand corner here, because they're more efficient than markets. The cost of having managers coordinate activities is less than the market costs of putting every little activity out on a market and seeing who could do it. Crowdsourcing turns that upside down. It says, let us expand our organization, but rather than having permanent lines and staffs, let's put a market in there and put tasks out on that market and see who will be willing to do them. To be honest, it's a little easier to think about crowdsourcing in terms of production processes, the steps we do to complete work. We have step 1, step 2, step 3, and for each step we have an employee or a certain set of employees who are assigned to that task to get it done. But often in making these production processes, we have to accept the fact that some of these workers have a mix of skills and they don't have all of the ones we need. So what we can do is split a task, take it apart, give some of it to our regular staff members, and then use a market to call on the crowd for someone or some group to do the specific task we need with the specific skills. So is this a new kind of activity? No, there is indeed nothing new under the sun. Many organizations have used crowdsourcing for many years, but what we have now are computers and networks that make it easy and inexpensive to do. The Work Projects Administration used crowdsourcing in the 30s to combat the Depression. Media production is commonly done as a crowdsourced activity. There are many other forms that use market mechanisms to coordinate labor. Well, how then does it work? Traditional organizations are held together by 3 things: position, who you report to and who reports to you; function, what you do; and status, the kind of authority that you command independent of the first 2. Crowdsourcing weakens position because it uses a market to choose the best person for the job. It strengthens, then, status, and the reputation of the worker becomes very important. What you do and accomplish gives you the opportunities to take the next job. Crowdsourcing falls into 2 broad classes. The first is the simple class, which uses a single market between the employer and the crowd to identify talent and to bring that talent into the work process. The second is called self-organized crowds because it pushes the market mechanisms into the crowd and gets the crowd to engage itself. Both can be used by your organization. Well, then you might ask, what's involved to make it work? To do crowdsourcing well, you need to understand something about management because you are managing a production process. It's also useful to see it as a form of industrial organization. Furthermore, it is clearly connected to mass marketing and the mass distribution of goods, so those skills are useful. Finally, since we carry on crowdsourcing over the internet, computer skills are valuable. But more and more, you can find organizations that will help you set up, manage, and get the benefits of crowdsourcing. Well, you may ask, is crowdsourcing good for workers? As a child of Detroit, I think long and hard about that, and I know well that it's going to depend on how crowdsourcing is deployed and how we structure the markets that support the workers. But I do know that it is a form of aggregated work, that it is a way of utilizing all the skills of our workers and deploying jobs so that workers can work wherever they are and whenever they are free.
So crowdsourcing is something that you can use in your organization, your company, your nonprofit, or even by yourself. Something that you can use to create new goods and services, to do things more efficiently, more creatively, more innovatively. To learn more, come to Crowdconference, October 20th and 21st in San Francisco. To find it on the web, go to Crowdconf 2013. We'll see you there. Take care.